So, I want to go back now, right? And just before you guys start coming together and before you guys met, right, the Lord started to lead you guys to come together as a couple. I know that you guys, I'm sure, have a beautiful testimony of how the Lord really led you in that way. But I want to get understanding of, based on this background that you guys have coming from Haiti, growing up in South Florida, right, with all of the mixed population that it is down in Florida as well. What was the view of money that you had, right? From an early age? What was the view of finances, even that you received, maybe from the community and even from your church background, the upbringing as well?
That's a loaded question, man.
Yeah.
Coming from a Caribbean background, man. I mean, if you come from the island, man, and your parents come here as an immigrant, man, the first thing in their mind is survival. They trying to make the best life as possible for themselves. They understand where they came from in very limited resources. So now in the land of opportunities, there's a big push in that community in general for success. In regards to there's a thing that's like they're sitting in Creole. It's like a joke. Almost young people, they always joke about it. It's something called the 3 L's. It's called L'école, Lakai, L'Église. What it means is like it's 3 L's, but it's like it's school, church, and home.
That's it.
That's your lifestyle. That's like the lifestyle you have as a young person in a Caribbean household. You got school, you got church, you got home. That's the cycle. So I mean, growing up especially even in our church, I mean, I grew up in a very more, I guess I would say more liberal type of church growing up. There's a big there's a big thing for education and encouraging the parents to push the kids to go to school to become doctors, lawyers, and stuff like that. So growing up, I mean, I actually wanted to be a lawyer growing up. I actually heard when I was in high school, my parents, they put me through the Magnum program at one of our high school. Okay. For a lot of high school, I was in a law Magnum program, and I had to travel like way across town, go to school, pursuing that dream, the American dream, right? Right? And so, even though I know, other than that, they're not American, but that American dream mindset is still instilled into them, and is promoted everywhere in the church, in conversation around the community. So that's kind of like most of the way, the pushing the direction in regards to money.
Better for you than that.
Yeah, in regards to finances, they just wanted more. And you growing up in a household where possibly your parents doesn't have it all the time, and then you hit a struggle, and then they talk about, well, we want you to have a better lifestyle, we want you to have a better career, to do better than we're doing. We don't speak the language very well. You come at a very young age, where you could adapt easier to the environment, to your culture, and get a nice education to understand how to speak and write in English, and just being able to understand the culture and then navigate through the culture. I think that's one of the biggest things for our parents, is that the cultural differences and them being adjusted to the cultural differences is a big barrier for them. Also, the language barrier also is another thing for them. So there's a big push for that, and success in the Haitian. I mean, if you're Haitian, man, and you grow up in a Haitian household, success is at the highest. I mean, it's like they probably even in a Christian household, they put success before even church. Sometimes, man, it's push. Yeah, you have to go get it, make something out of yourself. If you graduate college or get a nice job, it's almost as if you are.
You made it.
Like you made it. You made it. And then,
right.
The family pride.
Exactly, you make the family pride, and even in the community, at first, everybody clapping your parents, saying your parents good job for raising good kids. That's most of our background. I mean,
it's pretty much very similar. My dad came here working 2-3 jobs, because when he came here about 30 years ago, my mom and my siblings were still in Haiti. So he had to work, get a lawyer, literally riding a bike to 2 jobs, paying lawyers, in order to bring us here. And, when we got here, it's like, okay, hey, these are all the sacrifices I've made. I don't want anything back. However, you have to use this opportunity and do better for yourselves because of the sacrifices I've made. So that's always been a push. Even the community, like Eric mentioned, and even our church, when we graduate school, they also have a graduation at church for us as well. That's how much they put a big emphasis on education and for you to succeed and do for yourself.
Yeah, so finances, man, in regards is get it at all costs. That's the best way to put it. Just go out and get it. And of course legally, but it's just
of course. Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully, but you still got those those nuances, there's always
right.
Yeah, but that's how our upbringing, man.
So that's interesting. So it makes me think when you talk about coming from the cultural differences, right, and the switch, this desire, right, to reach out for this American dream. Do you think that it caused or had any negative effects on maybe making you more risk averse than you may be right today now, right? Because when we think about entrepreneurship, right, when I think about an entrepreneur, I think about somebody who's stepping out on faith, right? Because when I think about a lot, and this is not a knock on, of course, working at jobs and things, of course, right? But when you talk about being an entrepreneur, you're talking about literally creating something from nothing in many instances, right? And so it is literally a step out on faith. And so being an entrepreneur in many different areas of the culture and different areas of different communities is not looked favorably upon, especially when our parents, right, have put in the work and effort in order to say, I've got you into this school, right? And now you're talking about leaving from doing this particular thing and you're going to go do what? No, we're not having this conversation. So I guess my question is, did that have any effect on maybe how it caused you to not to avoid as many risks as possible, or what effect it had on maybe your entrepreneurship thought process and journey, especially in the beginning?
I mean, it varies, sometimes because I think it varies based on how we get into entrepreneurship. I think that I don't think that really had a huge impact at the beginning, because I didn't really grow up with an entrepreneurial mindset, or probably still a little bit all the way to college, just kind of most aware that push now started coming in. But going into it also, you have a fear factor also of failing, and also not being able to make the family meet the family standard, or that's something that they would be approved of, type of mindset, because in a way they want you to go to the college and finish college and stuff like that. And as we go through the story, into regards to my journey into entrepreneurship, that pretty much started in college. And I debated at one point to leave college, but I know that would be an issue, because my parents they want the degree. They don't care about you taking a risk and thinking this might be your home run. I mean, any parents, even myself, if I become a parent, I mean, I will support my kids through entrepreneurship lifestyle. I understand the benefit of it, but I still want you to have some type of paper in your hand, and I could see that culture. I mean, it's hard. There's a culture that's behind the Haitian culture. That's like education is it's a must, man. It's education is I mean, I don't know how it's almost like a god. It's almost like as if it's a god. Like your parents does not think you are anything in life unless you have a degree, and then they'll tell you, and they'll almost like shun you as a kid, where that, hey man, you're not making anything of yourself. What's your degree and stuff like that. And then sometimes kids become still 27, 28, 30, 40, still seeking that degree to make their parents proud. So this, like you're saying, like the risk factor, and how did that play out into making the decision to go on entrepreneurship is the way it played for us. It wasn't really that much of a fear to start with, but eventually when I got into it, it became a fear a little bit.
Okay, that's it. Go ahead.
Job.
Yeah.
No, I was saying, like, when he actually got into it, he actually left his job to do it full time.
Yeah.
So that's where the fear factor came in. It's like, okay, I have to make this work because I left my job.
Yeah.
And people are watching me. I left my job to do this full time.
Yeah.